welcome you all tonight. My name is Julie Jackshaw. I am the Regional Director for Headwaters RC&D, as well as the Regional Director for our Small Business Development Center that is housed within Headwaters. I am a Butte native, born and raised, never left here, love my community, so I'm excited to see the turnout for this meeting. Steve is going to co-host it with us tonight from NCAT. Steve is here. I don't know where he went. There he is. Steve is the Executive Director with NCAT, and so a little bit about this project. We had some folks reach out to us that were interested in perhaps looking at the co-op model. They wanted to know if we thought it was feasible, if we thought there was sustainability in Butte, and if we could actually make it happen. Steve and I have been meeting a lot behind the scenes, kind of talking things through. He's been doing a lot of his homework, and tonight we decided to invite the community in to get some feedback from the community. We put it out on social media. It was shared throughout the community. People started reaching out. I think there's definitely interest in talking about it. The co-op space is a new idea for Butte, and the Hennessy market is a huge void in Uptown Butte. And as we look to bring economic development not only to Butte as a whole, but especially to the Uptown area, we think about things like walkability, we think about access, we think about good food, we think about a variety of foods. And so those are all things that kind of steered this conversation to the co-op model.
So my name is Steve Thompson. I'm the Executive Director of the National Center for Appropriate Technology. Most of you probably heard of NCAT, but maybe don't know what we do. Well, we're not going to go into that too much. We are a national organization. We're involved in local food systems and sustainable agriculture and do technical assistance for farmers and ranchers. We're also involved in clean energy programs, energy efficiency. We run a AmeriCorps program called Energy Corps. And so my name is Steve Thompson. I'm the Executive Director of the National Center for Appropriate Technology. Most of you probably heard of NCAT, but maybe don't know what we do. Well, we're not going to go into that too much. We are a national organization. We're involved in local food systems and sustainable agriculture and do technical assistance for farmers and ranchers. We're also involved in clean energy programs, energy efficiency. We run a AmeriCorps program called Energy Corps. And do we have any Energy Corps members or alumni here tonight? All right. Thank you, EC. So I was originally, I'd heard rumors that there was some talk about a food co-op uptown, and as an uptown resident, I was highly motivated to see something happen at Hennessy Market, which I just think is a great institution. I just moved here in September from Whitefish. I've been in Montana for 30 years, but have been involved in food co-ops in other places. Once served on a board of directors of a food co-op in northern Idaho, and have some familiarity with it, but had never been involved in starting one. So I reached out to a few folks to try to track down these rumors that people were talking about it, and people were talking about it in groups of ones or twos, but there was no center. So I got a hold of Karen Burns, who said, "Oh, you just need to meet Nick Chiava, who owns the Sears building and the Hennessy and the equipment there, because he would be very supportive." So Julie and I met with Nick and a couple of our ag and food people from NCAT, and we said, boy, this is a window of opportunity. We've got a pretty narrow window of opportunity. And Nick said, I want to work with you. I'm going to be patient to a degree to see if there's going to be enough support in the community to make this happen. And even though I started, my initial interest was based as a member, as a neighbor and a resident of Uptown Butte, I quickly realized that this is actually right in the bailiwick of the National Center for Appropriate Technology. So we are willing, and so we teamed up with Julie to basically be the spark plugs or the catalyst to begin the conversation. And I did, based on my familiarity with food co-ops, I did some research and connected with a great organization out of Minnesota called the Food Cooperative Initiative, and they shared with me some slides that I'll be sharing some of those with you tonight about how do you start up a food co-op? Why would you start up a food co-op? We reached out to Marilyn Bessick. Is that right?
That's darn close.
Bessick. Dang, I asked her. Bessick.
Yes.
Bessick. She's from Butte.
Woo!
Yeah. Yeah, so basically, I'm not going to say too much more here other than just those introductory comments, and to reinforce that NCAT and Headwaters, we've got no money to try to make something like this happen. We don't have funding to do a feasibility study or to hire a program manager or project director or anything like that. We are basically just wanted to start the conversation. We have a roadmap that I'll present to you at the end in terms of where we might go from here to make this happen. Usually it takes 4 or 5 years to start a food co-op, and the last thing you talk about is where you want to locate it. We're doing it backwards. We're starting with, there's a window of opportunity with a very community-minded and willing and patient landlord, like I say, with some a limited window of patience and opportunity. He wants to work with us, and to try to put something together to meet that window is going to be very challenging, but we need to do our due diligence. So we'll talk about the steps for how we might move forward.